Hello again to another Agriculture Reacts, and today we will be watching why Norway is building underwater mines. And I just clicked that it's mines as a coal mine, not mines as a bomb mine. Interesting. I was thinking about that from OBF. So let's just get into it and actually learn why they're building the mines.
This is the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the world's longest mountain range you've never heard of because it's underwater. The ridge cuts the Atlantic Ocean in half, separating different tectonic plates. Where these plates meet, volcanic eruptions bring to the surface all sorts of precious metals, including gold and silver, but also important elements like rare earths. At the beginning of 2024, the Norwegian Parliament voted to authorize seabed exploration for mining in areas of the Norwegian Sea between Norway and Greenland. This decision has opened a Pandora's box that could result in enormous consequences for the environment and geopolitics. On the one hand, underwater mining could offer a greener alternative to traditional mining, and on the other are a lot of unknowns. While the idea of mining the seabed for rare minerals has been around for some time, Norway recently became the first ever country to plan to develop it industrially. Seabed mining, or deep-sea mining, involves extracting potato-sized clusters of nodules from the sea floor, and they plan to do it here, far off the coast of Norway. If Norway can pull this project off, they expect to find more than 38 million tons of copper and 45 million tons of zinc, as well as cobalt, scandium, magnesium, vanadium, titanium, and manganese, at depths of around 3,000 meters below sea level. However, the measure has been strongly contested by many researchers and activists concerned about the potential environmental risks extended seabed mining may pose. Even Equinor, Norway's leading oil company, has expressed concerns about the threat seabed mining poses to the ocean and marine biodiversity. On the same note, several multinational companies worldwide, including BMW, Google, Volvo, and Samsung, have all signed the World Wildlife Fund's past calls for a moratorium on seabed mining, refusing to use ocean floor resources in their products. To be clear, Norway has declared that future industrial extraction of the seafloor is conditional on future UN treaties and regulations designed to safeguard marine life. According to protesters and activists, too little is known about the consequences seabed mining might have on aquatic ecosystems at large.
True.
Can a skincare routine really
That was quick. Okay, so we just gonna go in here, and I'm just gonna mute this one here, and then we can watch the ad. And I'm gonna be talking about, like I said in the beginning, I was thinking they're talking about mines. I don't know why I didn't click that. You don't build mines, as in exploding mines on the sea, but mines. Yeah, this is the drawback of not being a native English speaker, I guess. So far, I'm kind of thinking about the fact that we don't really know how. No one really did it, and obviously there is other stuff, like we don't know a lot about underwater life and stuff. Like, we know some of it, but they keep saying that a lot of the species haven't been discovered yet. So I kind of wonder, will they gonna go with it, and should they go with it? So far I'm kind of for no, they shouldn't go. Okay, the ad's finished, so let's just go back to it. And the volume, and there you go.
In fact, scientists agree that we know more about deep space than the deep ocean. This is also the opinion of the Norwegian Environment Agency, which is concerned that...
Wait, is that even real? Did you see that? I mean, like, did you see the little eyes and stuff?
This is also the...
Look at this. Isn't this just the coolest thing ever? Look at those little eyes, and they're moving.
Opinion of the Norwegian Environment Agency.
Is that even eyes? I don't think that's eyes, but still. It's really cool.
Which is concerned that extracting mineral nodules from the seabed may alter the life cycle and habits of marine creatures we don't even know anything about, with unpredictable consequences for the oceanic ecosystem. For instance, the Atlantic Ridge in the middle of the Arctic Sea is home to rare active sulfide deposits. These deposits are economically important but also crucial to rare animal species, many of which have been on the Norwegian Red List since 2021. We don't know how removing this material would impact these species species, and we also aren't sure what impact this might have on the larger marine ecosystem. Rare species like the Dumbo octopus, the sea pangolin, the helmet jellyfish, and possibly others we haven't even discovered yet could be at risk. Prominent scientists, including David Attenborough, report that seabed minerals and ecosystems may have a unique function of carbon sequestration, meaning the ocean's depths may play a role in reabsorbing CO2 from the atmosphere. We already know that seas are more effective than forests at purifying the air and combating global warming. Scientists usually correlate this to algae, but for all we know, the seafloor might be just as important. On the other hand, because we know so little about seabed mining in general, it could be an invaluable opportunity provided we shed more light on its basic environmental implications. Some studies point out that extracting minerals from the seabed could be less risky, costly, and more environmentally friendly than classic land ore extraction. See, the nodules on the seabed are typically found under as little as 5 centimeters of oceanic debris on average, making them much easier to locate and mine. On the other hand, land ore extraction often requires large tracts of land and significant water resources, all for the possibility that actual deposits end up smaller than expected. So a shift towards seabed.
I mean, maybe what they should do is not go in for the full-blown, that wasn't intentional, full-blown underwater mines. Let's just maybe do like experimental ones for some time. I mean, years, not months, but for years, to see how that actually goes for the environment around it in the place. I don't know, like 5 hectares or something. I'm not sure if that's big or not, but something like that to just use for mining. I know it's not it is not a big space to mine underwater, especially that you're just getting stuff just from the bottom of the sea, so we don't really mine as in a traditional way, I think, isn't it? So I wonder if that's what they're gonna go.
Mining is estimated to decrease CO2 emissions by as much as 80% for nickel, 76% for copper, 29% for cobalt, and 22% for manganese. And mining the seabed is quite a bit different than surface level mining. See, seabed mining, or deep sea mining, involves extracting valuable minerals from the seafloor with remote controlled mining vehicles at a depth of 3,000 to 5,000 meters below the surface. These vehicles...
Yeah, but those vehicles gonna be like sucking in everything that's there, the living creatures as well, not just the nodules that they call it.
Find polymetallic nodules ranging from less than 1 centimeter to 20 centimeters wide, containing valuable minerals like manganese, copper, cobalt, zinc, lead, nickel, iron, gold, silver, and generally rare earths. Sea mining can also involve active hydrothermal deposits called polymetallic sulfides that naturally vent valuable minerals into the water from below the Earth's surface. Economically speaking, seabed mining is projected to be very profitable if expanded to an industrial capacity. This promising activity has attracted investors and companies pledging to move away from fossil fuels. It particularly appeals to Norway, whose economy hugely benefits from oil and natural gas revenue. Many see seabed mining as the answer to the large amounts of rare earths and other minerals needed to fuel the green energy transition. Mining...
That was quick again. Okay, so like I just said, that would be something that, well, obviously there are always pluses and minuses for things like that, and so far I just see more minuses for it, I think, and you can't really, I don't know, explain or make it, you know, like make it look like it's such a great thing. Yeah, maybe it's gonna be less what he was just saying there, that those percentages and stuff like that, but I don't think that's gonna be, in the long run, it's gonna be good. So we shall see. Okay. This one is long, so I'm just gonna cut here and I'll be back. Bye. Okay, and the ad finished, so I can come back to it, and let's go.
mining the seafloor may be a better way to obtain these badly needed elements without expanding the already high environmental cost of land ore mining. Many green technologies like solar panels, wind energy, and EV batteries are just waiting for an opportunity like deep water extraction to drive down costs. Take cobalt, for example. It's one of the most critical elements for EV battery production, and 1 ton of it sold for $62,000 in 2021. The World Bank estimates that cobalt demand will rise by 500% by 2050, making seabed mining a badly needed innovation to fuel the green energy transition. Still, that figure assumes that new developments don't reduce the need to mine minerals from the seafloor. Since 2022, an estimated 50% of Tesla's EVs have stopped using elements potentially found on the seabed, thanks to new lithium-ion battery production techniques. Still, assuming the demand for rare earths and other minerals remains relevant, industrial seabed mining could bring a single nation an estimated 9 to 10 billion US dollars over 30 years after an initial $4 to $6 billion investment. Many skeptics of seabed mining are pushing for international regulations. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea currently mentions seabed mining in a relatively favorable light and allows the practice, provided it benefits humankind as a whole. Seabed mining could help fuel the green energy transition, as we talked about earlier, and reduce the impact on land mining. In that sense, it could technically benefit all of mankind, especially since most deep-sea deposits of nodules and hydrothermal sulfides are far beyond the reach of any one country's exclusive economic zone. Since national laws do not apply to this area, the UN Convention applies here, and it seems to give approval, declaring in Article 136 that the ocean bed is the common heritage of mankind. However, the following article, 137.2, states that resources on the seafloor can be removed for commercial purposes, but not if it goes against the benefit of mankind as a whole. If you're confused, that's fine, because the world's decision makers were too. This ambiguity led to the creation of the International Seabed Authority in 1982. Yes, we have something like that, which now includes 167 state members tasked with granting or denying exploration and exploitation permits on the seafloor in international waters. The ISA has created the Mining Code, a piece of international law composed of rules, regulations, and procedures to regulate any commercial operation on the seabed. The ISA just held its 29th session in March 2024, where it moved to formulate regulations and request that companies and nations pay royalty fees to the ISA proportionate to their profits to make up for the removal of humankind's common heritage. This solution would essentially treat seabed mining operations as another negative consequence to nature, climate, or biodiversity caused by human activities. This effort to understand and regulate the potential harms of seabed mining is crucial to getting the practice approved, especially in international waters. As WWF recently pointed out, one of the most challenging obstacles to seabed mining is the obligation of any country to assess and prevent cross-border harm that damages another country's territory or economic exclusion zone. While boring, more progress in regulations is needed to address the environmental and economic concerns of seabed mining, and this is a big problem. You see, Norway was the first country to open the doors to industrial seabed mining, but is by no means the only country to ever experiment with the idea. Namibia's government and the diamond giant De Beers have been mining diamonds from the seafloor since 2002. This collaboration isn't technically seabed mining, since it takes place in Namibia's national waters and crucially above a maximum depth of 120 meters. However, the operations are promising, garnering an estimated 2 million carats of diamonds annually since 2022 by some of the largest diamond mining vessels in the world. This profit is not without environmental costs. Some scientists argue that even at these relatively shallow depths, marine mining may disrupt marine biodiversity, especially considering the waste and debris generated by the extraction. In 2020, Japan successfully completed the first ever excavation test of a cobalt-rich crust on the seabed of Japan's exclusive economic zone. According to their estimate, the area contains enough cobalt to cover Japan's national demand for 88 years and enough nickel for 12 years. This discovery and successful test have pushed the country's government to plan for commercial exploitation of seabed ore from the late 2020s onwards. In 2023, New Zealand's government attempted once more to reignite the debate on seabed mining after strong opposition over environmental concerns had pushed New Zealand's Supreme Court to block seabed mining operations. While the country has backed an international moratorium to halt seabed mining on international waters in the past, New Zealand is currently reviewing the risks and benefits of the practice. Nauru, a tiny island nation in the Pacific, once wealthy from phosphate fertilizer, is now exploring deep-sea mining in its exclusive economic zone with a Canadian mining company. Elsewhere in the Pacific, the Cook Islands have made the news with their ambitions to develop seabed mining in their waters. Unlike Nauru though, the Cook Islands have a large exclusive economic zone, sprawling over 1.9 million square kilometers of ocean, and their seafloor is particularly valuable as it is relatively near to what scientists have deemed the richest seafloor area on the planet.
Okay. So, they be just doing like... They technically doing that in their own waters, is it? But the problem with Norway is that they're trying to do the underwater mines in the international. Did I understand that right? So they're not really first, but they kind of first that they're doing for like a bigger amount. So why? I don't know. Maybe they did, but they just haven't mentioned that. But maybe they should just keep looking and see how is that going for the environment, because honestly, well, they haven't really said much, isn't it? There was something about debris and all, so that could be something to take in consideration. That basically there is no mining that's gonna be like clean, unless they be just having like singular divers, but that won't be financially impossible. Not impossible, but it's just gonna be too expensive to have divers that are just gonna be picking up by hand, isn't it? That's an option, but it's gonna be too expensive for that. So yeah, I'm not sure what else should I... Is there anything else for me to actually add to it? I think we'll see what else he's gonna say in that video, if there's some more details about it. But so far I'm kind of against it, because there's not enough, we don't know enough about it, I think, to say strict and strong yes for it.
The Clarion-Clipperton Fracture Zone. The official position of the Cook Islands is to exploit one of the country's few resources for economic growth and diversification, the ocean itself. And it's likely that without seabed mining, the island nation will struggle to maintain suitable growth while addressing the challenges of the green energy transition. However, when it comes to seabed mining regulations, you might be surprised to hear that the main voice behind the ISA's efforts is China. In response to China's activism about seabed mining, President Joe Biden has instructed the Pentagon to deliver a report about the risks and benefits of deep-sea mining this March. So why all this attention to seabed mining from the two main world superpowers? Well, the answer lies in the growing importance of the elements that could be found on the sea floor, especially rare earths. See, rare earths are crucial to solar panels and EV batteries, as we mentioned earlier, sectors that will become immensely critical in the near future. These compounds have unique properties, making them an invaluable component of smartphone screens. They help relay signals in fiber optic cables, accelerate information to orbital satellites, and even shift the trajectory of heat-seeking missiles. The problem is that it just so happens that the vast majority of rare earth deposits are located in China and United States. China has seized the opportunity, supplying an estimated 85 to 95% of the world's nickel, cobalt, lithium, manganese, and other elements. To put this into perspective, China produced 140,000 tons of refined rare earths in 2020 versus just 38,000 tons in the US. In terms of overall reserves, China has 44 million tons of rare earth reserves compared to the US's mere 1.5 million. But more than that, the other major rare earth reserves are located in countries more friendly to China than the US, such as Russia and others like Brazil, with a somewhat neutral stance. The West collectively holds less than 7% of global raw reserves. This fact shows why the seabed that is hugely relevant to geopolitics, as it could permit the US and the West to sidestep China's absolute monopoly on these invaluable assets. Unsurprisingly, the Pentagon has suggested seabed mining as a way to strengthen our rare earth and critical mineral supply chains. Of course, Beijing is well aware of the disruptive potential of seabed mining, especially given America's diplomatic dominance in the Pacific region, where the richest deposits are located. This reality drives China's proactive push to create international regulations to allow seabed mining, and it may push for stricter regulations in international waters than in exclusive economic zones. As Duncan Curry, advisor at the High Seas Alliance, put it, if the train leaves the station, China wants to be helping to drive the train. Just in case, China has already secured licenses for 17% of the total area issued by the ISA for operations in international waters as soon as 2025.
That's a lot of
Interestingly,
places,
much of this area covers the Clarion-Clipperton Fracture Zone, which is close to the American EEZ off the coast of Hawaii. All in all, Norway's decision has made headlines and sparked much debate. Still, the environmental and geopolitical stakes of this decision are way higher than a few jellyfish in the Arctic. Seabed mining feels like a Pandora's box opened by a few countries, destined to change the world entirely. What do you think of this idea? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's necessary? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of said my take on it for during the video. So I think that I don't think we should go into it. We should actually make more research first. And that's pretty much all. I already talked about it during the video, so thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye!